what I'm driving at is that if we look at the table, that's really what's going on. You say, if we didn't know what floor we were on, then you have no business talking about anyone jumping out of any windows.
Yeah.
You just don't.
Wow.
That is not a viable addition to play until we all know what floor we're on. And that's not your
So it's
job.
very
Whose job is it? Who says, oh, I'm the game master in this game. In this game, it's my job. Okay. Well, let me think about your character. Is this kind of apartment? Oh, you're definitely living on the 10th floor. You can't afford a good one, right? Whereas this other game says, well, you made up your character and you told us about this apartment already. Did you have an idea of what floor? And the guy says, yeah, I live on the 2nd floor. I knew that. So
it's very interesting because you're pointing out that Apocalypse World actually has a procedure of play to resolve it, and this is one of my favorite ones. If you don't know, ask the question and get the answer and build on the answer.
Exactly.
Because if the player says, because if I ask a player says we are on the ground floor, then I will look for other problem.
Right.
But if they say we are on the 10th floor, I can jump out the window, ask my problem, because that's now established. It's
right.
Oh, this is really
cool. And there's also several other issues too. I personally find myself a little bit wondering why the backstory of the non-player character is so flexible and unknown that it's up in the air about whether they'll try to kill themselves or not, or escape, or whatever it is they're trying to do. I mean, shouldn't whoever has authority over that character already know that? Whether that person is inclined to do this or not? Maybe they haven't planned it, but they can look at their knowledge of the character and say this is something they will or won't do, instead of saying, what will be fun? Okay, I'll make up whatever shit I want so that they can dealing with the jumping out the window. You see what I mean? You're trying to entertain them. You're trying to step in front of them and entertain them. That is another issue too. Where are we talking about transitive entertainment or not? In terms of situations and outcomes, are we talking about transitive entertainment? My job is to make you happy that you came here. So I better throw something out that excites you, and I better make sure it resolves in a way that you think is the best way it could resolve. Right? And whether you're into misery porn so I can make life miserable for your character, or whether you're into power fantasy and I will make life exciting and triumphant for your character, well, I'll just take care of you. I'll throw whatever you need in front of you. Is this really? This is, again, a matter of failure of constraint. This is if you are in a situation of a certain amount of situational authority in this game at your table, and your only thought is, what do I make up in front of them? So they keep going, right? Or maybe I just ask them what they're doing, and then they say, well, we're going to the bar, and I say, aha, I'll put the bad guy at the bar, right? That kind of thing. Are you familiar with the animated movies about Wallace and Gromit? No. Okay.
Unfortunately.
One of these are very funny British animated short films. One of them is this dog named Gromit, and one of the characters, and at one point he is in a dramatic battle with an evil penguin. There's a train set on the floor of the house, and they find themselves jumping into cars on the train set, and the penguin has a gun and is firing at him, so it's very dangerous. And Gromit, thinking quickly, because he sees he's coming to the end of the track, thinking quickly, grabs a box of track pieces, and he lays the track. There's a fabulously funny sequence with him in very fast motion laying the track in front, and he's able to bend his car so he's able to go and get the penguin, right? So but that is game mastering for a lot of people. They say to the players, just keep telling me what you're doing and I'll just lay the track just in front of the car so that we will, fulfill the required tropes. You'll meet the informant wherever you go. You will I'll make it fun. I'll put in a good monster wherever you go.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and so I call it to be from the player side. I call it Jesus is coming. Look busy. As long as we are just busy, and look busy, then the game master will take care of the story happening. So, but this is a very fake way to play if what you are excited about is any kind of uh, consequence of activity,
Mm-hmm.
right? The consequence is fake. The consequence is
Mm-hmm.
massaged, rebooted with every action, right? Well, that's what happened. Oh, okay. Well, I'll just make sure this happens next
Mm-hmm.
time. So it's so that's something to consider in terms of these games. In many ways, calling a game PbtA or more broadly indie has become a way to adopt all the bad behaviors from previous role playing, all
Mm-hmm.
of this fake play, and distribute it a little bit more widely and say you are doing something different, but you're not. And
Trying to
so,
process all of this.
right. And so you can have really good gameplay and game design with the older distribution of authorities, and you can
Mm-hmm.
have really good gameplay and design in some other configuration of the authorities.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have fucked up authorities, the solutions are always the same: merc, the manipulation of the merc, and no constraints on outcomes. As soon as you have no constraints on outcomes, then whoever has the outcome authority is just running everything. They're just telling you the story. So
Wow.
yeah.
There's so much topics here.
If you are looking at the way that rules work, right, at a given table and how the authorities are distributed, first we have to get through the fact is, do we even have a functional medium at all? Which is
Mm-hmm.
where the jump out the window, that's a break in the medium, right? The whole medium falls apart at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Then we go to the issue of agency and we say, is this actually instruments that we are playing like musicians? So the instruments have their own properties, right? Their
Mm-hmm.
own unexpected results and all sorts of things. Or are we playing, are we working devices, right? Widgets that will do
Mm-hmm.
what they do regardless of who is turning the handle? Is that, and I think a lot of the problems with a lot of the games that we call story games, a person was upset with the merc, so they tried to solve it by distributing around everybody, thinking more hands will reduce the merc. It doesn't. So you basically just get multi-party merc, right?
Yeah.
Multi perpetrator merc. So that's one thing. Then you can have somebody who says, well, no, that's no good. I'm going to force this into a configuration that nobody can damage. I'm going to make this
Mm-hmm.
idiot proof. And they do, but they also make it human proof when they do. So
Yeah.
one of the important things about a musical instrument is that somebody could play it badly. If you make a musical instrument immune to somebody playing it badly, it is no longer a musical instrument. And it's the same thing with role playing games. So when I'm giving my design courses, I scare the students by saying, don't perfect your game. Making the perfect dice, you are basically stabbing your game in the heart. I don't say make it flawed. I say make sure that there is some kind of agency involved, that it won't work unless people exercise some agency. The latest Vampire is a good example here. I might send you a diagram in the chat sooner or later about this. The latest Vampire is
Yeah.
kind of interesting
Mm-hmm.
because you have this blood roll when you wake up, right? When you wake up
Mm-hmm.
and you discover whether you are a little hungry or super
Mm-hmm.
hungry.
Mm-hmm.
And there is no not hungry. Okay, let's just get that straight right there. There is no
Yeah.
wake
Yeah.
up not hungry. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So then you have basically two routes to go. One
Mm-hmm.
route is, and it may be facilitated if you are very hungry, but you can go there voluntarily, is basically go and feed,
Feed.
right? And if you kill someone, it's great. You can really drop your hunger. Killing a person's great. Of course, then if you kill somebody, then all the gothic stuff kicks in, and you write bad poetry, right? You are tormented. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
stains, right? You get stains. So that's great. Or you can say, well, I'm just going to feed a little bit. I'm going to feed a little bit, and I'm always going to have the risk of losing control under stress because I'm never really, feeling great about
Mm-hmm.
my hunger, but I'm not killing anybody and I'm not getting any stains. So as I like, and I'll plan exactly who I'm going to feed off of, and if I kill somebody, it's going to be someone I want to kill, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that's so I like to call it the organized versus disorganized serial killer. That's your choice,
Mm-hmm.
right? But the cool thing
Okay.
in Vampire is that you have that choice at all levels of play, no matter how hungry you get. Your chance of losing control in the moment is higher if you are hungrier, but that choice otherwise is up to you. And so your character's path through these constraints and sudden involuntary behaviors, and when you do or don't get stains and stuff, it's influenced directly by the dice and the outcomes of rolls of all kinds, but it's
Mm-hmm.
also influenced by the choices you have made in between the dice rolls. So the saga of your vampires, are you gothically excess with blood spattering the walls, or are you gothically tormented with lots and lots and lots of poetry, right? Or some combination of the two? We
Mm-hmm.
will find out. We will have to see how you play, and we will have to see what happens in play. That's agency. It mattered that your ass was in that chair and not someone else's.
Interesting. A lot for me to process and
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
Uh,
So
wow,
anyway, I'm sorry to
Ron.
take up your whole morning, but does this give you an idea of where I'm coming from with these topics?
Yeah. This is really interesting. I'm not a game designer, but as I run a lot of games, it improves my understanding and my ability to know what I play and how to
Right.
explain it and how to have good time at the table.
This is
Because I'm really curious to talk about this agency because I don't really fully understand it,
well, again,
and I would love to
it's
dive
an
into it.
effect. That's the issue. It's an effect, not a particular rule or mechanic, right? It's a particular
Yeah.
effect. And so we have to look at it as a second order thing in play. Does it occur, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
of the way that we play. Not, oh, well, this is the agency rule. Put it in the middle. Now you have it, right? That's not how it works.
Mm-hmm.
I would like also to say that I don't consider myself a designer separate from being a role player. Um, I think that design is kind of like a personality disorder. So if you, I mean, I would be a lot happier if I just played a whole bunch of role playing games and we just tweaked it at the table and that's all that we did, like everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
The urge to actually come up with a construct that could be named as its own thing, there's no reason on earth why I should do that. It's an urge.
Yeah.
A little bit like waking up. I mean, how is my hunger this morning, right? I'll make my roll and see whether I have to work on a game or whether I can put it off a little while longer. And so therefore, but that's the important point. If a person takes this and says, I am going to concern myself with making product, distributing product, and get return on investment with this, and they lose touch with being a player as their big box, right? So now we
Mm-hmm.
are in the situation of traditional entertainment. We have the producers of the entertainment object over here, and we have the
Mm-hmm.
audience and purchasers of the entertainment object over there. I don't do that. I don't do that at all. I am with the greasy, filthy, and badly behaved crowd in this regard. I am in the middle of them,
Okay.
right? And so that's what I do. And then the design is this bad behavior of mine on this side. So yeah, that does. But thank you for your time. Thank you for being so patient with me. I know I can really go on.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was fun Friday morning. Yeah, I feel like this reinvention of RPG, and it's becoming. We are in Poland right now having this like big emergence. A lot of titles are being translated.
Right.
Plenty of
Right.
people want to home design stuff. So some topics like 20 years old GNS
Well, maybe
are
so. Maybe yeah.
are being discussed.
Yeah. Well, maybe I can be helpful to frame that discussion to keep it away from some of the pits that people fell into. But one last thing is that we are very active at my website Adepts Play with
Mhm.
everything you are talking about. So if you want, go and look at it and see.
But do you have like a forum there? Because I've been at the site. Is there like a forum? Because I've
Well, it
where it's
is a
being
stealth.
discussed.
It's a stealthy form. Um, if you make it look like a forum, then everybody gets upset and says that's old. We don't want forums. But then if you
Okay.
do something else, then they all whine and say, "But I missed the forums. They made so much more sense." Right? So what I did was I set it up more like a blog. So we have posts that you can make that are timestamped, but inside each one, the discussion framework is organized as a forum. So what you have is a little forum for every post.
Cool.
Yeah.
I will take a look. Yeah, I found the post.
Yeah.
I will take a look.
Excellent. There's a lot of interesting games being played and have been for 4 years now. So, okay. Thank you very much.
Interesting. Bye bye.
Right.